It is a big old class reunion tonight at the Saddledome as the Flames take on the Florida Panthers.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me here today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Today, we are going to be talking all about the latest news in terms of Markstrom coming back, Dustin Wolf being sent to the AHL, some shining stars that have really shined in the last few games, and it's been pleasant to see. And of course, we got to talk about some mistakes that this team has made because, well, it's only natural. And make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. My birthday is at the end of the month, and I would love to hit 400 YouTube subscribers. So make sure you and all of your friends are subscribed, especially if they're Oilers fans. It has been 14 days since Jacob Markstrom broke his finger. December 4th is when that happened. Today's the 18th. Yeah, maths. If you need a refresher, Jacob Markstrom took a puck a little funny off the finger in practice where there wasn't much padding, fractured a finger, and has been on IR since. Looks like he has been activated, and Dustin Wolf and Ilya Solyov has been sent down to the Wranglers. So quite literally right down the hall. This is exciting because obviously you get your number one goaltender back, okay? Dan Vladar has shown up. He's done what he needed to do. Dustin Wolf, we do not deserve you. And it's just nice to see, he gets to come back. Now Craig Conroy gets to figure out what he wants to do with Dan Vladar and Dustin Wolf. So let's hope we have an answer shortly after the new year to that. Along with Jacob Markstrom, it looks like Chris Tanev has been practicing as well. I believe he was skating ahead of practice alone, so it's not entirely clear if he is coming back. Monday makes it a week since he was hit in Colorado in the first 15 seconds of the game. So it's going there hasn't been official word if he is playing tonight against the Panthers, and we all know that Chris Tanev is not someone that misses time unless what did he have, like a torn labrum, separated shoulder. So someone started a rumor that it was like a fractured spine. It turned out to be completely false. But you know that Chris Tanev does not miss time. That man blocked a puck with his face and was fine. So I'm going to assume that he did have maybe a little bit of a concussion, considering that facial trauma as well as getting slammed into the boards. And I hope all is well with him. It would be super exciting to see him back with the team. I think the defense has done a good job for the most part in his absence, and it's nice to see, guys like Osterley get a shot with the club, considering, he is kind of mainly an AHL guy. And Dennis Gilbert has stepped up. Nick DeSimone has stepped up. Solo didn't really have a true chance, but you win some, you lose some. It's okay. But we should know more later today about Chris Tanev's status, and that'll be exciting to see. I really do hope that, everyone is staying healthy. There was a bug floating around the room earlier this month as well, and hopefully everyone's washing their hands and staying away from sick people. The Panthers are coming to town tonight, and this is a big ol' reunion. If you are new here, the Flames traded Sam Bennett to Florida for a prospect and a second-round pick. Neither of those things are with the team anymore. The second-round pick, I think, got traded to Sean Monahan to Montreal, and they traded prospect as well. And it's, it is what it is. And then, of course, you have Matthew Tkachuk going south, and Uyghur Huberdeau coming back along with a prospect, Cole Schwint. And I believe there was a draft pick thrown in there as well. A big, hefty return. We all remember where we were hearing the return. Good stuff, right? So we thought. The Panthers are a very physical team. They are not going to just roll over. They don't care. They're a resilient team that has no issue sitting on players. And if there's one thing they're going to do, it is throw themselves around. The Flames don't entirely have a player that is capable of retaliating, I would say. That was kind of Nikita Zadorov and Milan Lucic's job, and neither of them are with the team anymore. Dennis Gilbert has stepped up to do a little bit of that, and, he's kind of proven that he's not afraid to back down from a fight, and that's helpful, definitely helpful, but he might not win all of them, but he's capable of handling business. It's frustrating because you shouldn't have to police the games yourself. How many times did we see horrible non-calls last week? And then you have David Pastrnak threw a hit on Saturday against the Rangers, and it just wasn't a good hit. It's not fun. It'd be nice if the refs started to do their job. But again, let's bring it back to Monday at the Saddledome, tonight at 7:30 Mountain Time. The Flames are currently sitting fourth in the Pacific, 9 points behind the Kings. That's it. They're in third place. So, that's every point truly counts. And I haven't looked at the point differential in probably a few weeks, just because the Flames weren't doing the best. So that was kind of a shocker to see. And the Panthers are tied for second in the Atlantic with the Leafs. I am so impressed. I don't think that this is sustainable for them. Just, with the way that they play, this is a style of hockey that is more conducive for the playoffs. I would say that them and the Flames play a similar style in terms of wearing the teams down, wearing the opponents out. We saw that in the playoffs with the Panthers this past spring, and we see it with the Flames and some of this is the end of the Western Canada, Seattle road trip for the Panthers. And I'm sure that they are tired. I'm sure that they're a little bit worn out. And it'd be nice if the Flames could kind of show up tonight. One thing that has been outstanding, unexpected, what is Bobrovsky's resurgence. He currently has 5.7 goals saved above expected based on Money Puck's model. And he puts him at 6th in the league goaltending. That's really good. They have been so lucky with that, and I can't imagine what would have happened had Alex Lyon played well in the first few games against Boston, and Bob never got a shot. Establish this again and to come back in being Bob. So good to see when you don't have to play him. Always love a good comeback story. Coming up next, we are going to take a quick break and talk about the mistakes and positive moments, teaching moments that the Calgary Flames can hopefully carry over or abandon as they move forward with their schedule. And we'll be talking about that coming up right after this. It is the holiday season, and if you are struggling to find a gift for your favorite sports fan, look no further. Game Time is the place to find tickets for your favorite sporting events. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to the next big game. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all of the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I love using Game Time when I am taking my trip back to Boston because I am trying to save as much money as possible and not spend what I spend on hotels to get into a game. See the view from your seats before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front so you don't have to deal with all of those hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on today's episode of Locked On Flames. I hope that you had a fantastic weekend. And if you saw Tate McRae at the Saddledome this weekend, maybe she's the good luck charm. And she's single-handedly growing the NHL. They're learning. But I think one of the most important things when you're looking at a team's progress through a season, what mistakes are they repeating? This team struggled so long, 7-10 game stretch of them just not being able to have a good zone entry or turnovers in the neutral zone. You thought it was a bakery with all the turnovers they were creating, and it just was not good. But with a little bit of observation, some tweaks, they have moved on from that and have found other issues that include their power play. But we're not going to beat a dead horse today. The Flames were able to get ahead with 3 goals against the Lightning on Saturday, and that was huge. When they scored that first goal, I was like, okay, this is, it's a cushion. They're not playing from behind against a super competitive team. And again, a little wiggle room, right? And then the second goal came. I was like, okay, this is even better. And then the third goal, I was like, oh, this is great. But they can't afford to take their foot off the gas in the third period and play more relaxed. You have to act like it's a 1-goal game or it's tied, because what we saw was them get too comfortable. They allowed 2 goals. They saw that they had the cushion. And then thank goodness for Connor Zari's game-winning goal, because they created another cushion for a little bit longer until obviously the game ended. You don't want to blow a lead like that. Obviously, a shutout is great. Do I expect Dan Vladar to have a shutout against the Tampa Bay Lightning? No. To me, that is an unrealistic expectation, and at least against this Tampa Bay Lightning team, right? When you allow 2 goals like that, you're risking blowing that nice cushy lead that you had. You don't want to do that, because number one, 3 unanswered goals. Good stuff. Great stuff. But then when the time is shrinking, how much more security you can put up. And you are just letting them have some fun. The Tampa Bay Lightning are very much a team. I think this is like most teams, but I think, those upper echelon teams like the Lightning, if you let them score 1 goal, that opens the floodgates. Suddenly they find their offense. They're able to sneak past you, to create sweet passes, the cleanest plays, and they find the back of the net. You cannot let that happen. You can't. Especially so late in the game when you don't have the opportunity to create either a bigger barrier or, bigger gap in the scoring, or to create a cushier lead for yourself. You don't want to blow that. And one thing that I have noticed is the fact that they have not been able to generate a ton of shots in obviously the offensive zone early on in the game. I think they had like 2 shots through 9 minutes in the game against Minnesota, and that was tough. It was tough because this team does not generate high danger shots. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast in discussing why the Flames have such difficulty scoring some nights. When you don't have those high danger chances, you obviously are still creating like low danger chances, but what do we say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And when you aren't registering those, again, you are limiting your opportunities to score and to get lucky off of bounds, to have someone in front of the net, be able to scoop that rebound. It has been a few games in a row, and I understand some teams do just come in and like suffocate you in your own zone, so you can't create those opportunities. But I feel like this team has gotten pass happy again, and we're seeing that. And Huberdeau is still struggling. I believe it's 9 games without a goal now. His passing is even questionable at times, and that's not good. That is not good. Craig Conroy, you better be on the phone with San Jose every day asking what they want for Anthony Duclair. You better be on the phone. And that, again, that is a whole other can of worms that we can fully dissect at some point when I have Nick back on the show. But the Flames spend much of the first period, at least a solid chunk of time, in their own zone, unable to clear the puck and to regain control of the puck. They are just defending, and then there's no opportunities for them. And it typically does start on a bad giveaway, and we don't want to see that anymore. We've seen enough of it through 30 games. I think we're okay, and I want to see them find a way to truly, make the most of this dump and chase style that they sometimes have to resort to. I think that it does work on teams like probably like the Capitals because they're older and they're slow and tired. Tampa Bay potentially, I think, you do have to play a little bit more strategically against the upper echelon teams, but there are teams that get so worn out from playing that. And tonight, I don't you are not going to find that against Panthers. They are not a team that it's like they just live off of adrenaline. I don't know how they do it and if it's even like remotely healthy, but they just keep going. And that was one thing that absolutely killed the Bruins in their postseason run was Panthers just number one being an incredibly physical team and number two, not getting worn out. They had the capability of wearing their opponents out. And I would love for some of that to like transfer to the Flames because they need to find a way to do that consistently. And it shouldn't just be with the dump and chase, a bunch of golden retrievers chasing a tennis ball sort of hockey. It's not a sustainable way to play a full season. It's great in the playoffs. Absolutely fantastic. Like I said, with the Panthers, got to the Stanley Cup for a reason. And we need to see them figure out a way to wear out Panthers and obviously other upcoming opponents. Coming up next, we will absolutely be going over all of my favorite players, standout players in the last week or so. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about getting in on the FanDuel action, there is no better time to join. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-under, and more. My favorite thing is, again, you just get the instant cash out. Fantastic for everyone. So visit fanduel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. You can follow me on social media at Jess Belmosto. What do we get done, Sweeney, for Christmas? Because AJ Greer might just be the best waiver claim in Flames history. I don't have a list of those waiver claims, but I do suspect that AJ Greer might be one of the mystery. He has 5 goals in 30 games. Sure, he's not really a goal scoring type of player, but he has the same amount as he did with the Bruins through 61 games. He is getting a real opportunity in Calgary and consistent opportunities. I don't think that was really an option in Boston, and kind of unfortunate for him because I know how much him and his wife loved Boston, but love Calgary a little bit more. I really like the kind of player he is. He is tough. He'll throw a little hit. He's not afraid to move his body around, and he creates good plays when he has to, and he's not afraid to shoot the puck. That is one of my favorite things about him. He shoots the puck. He is not allergic to shooting. I don't know. Can he teach his teammates that? It's so great to just watch. Like, that fourth line on Saturday night was delightful. Dylan Dubé only played 9 minutes, by the way. I totally meant to mention that earlier. That's like the second game in the last week where he's played under 10 minutes. I like what he brings to the team. I really think that his size is super helpful for the Flames as well, and I'm interested to see how the rest of the season goes, especially with players like Ruzicka and Walker Duehr, and eventually Jacob Pelletier, all needing spots in this, all fighting for spots in this lineup. I have to say that Yegor Sharangovich is the obvious choice for my second player to watch tonight, simply because he is on a heater. He has a 5-game goal streak going, and he just looks so confident out on the ice. It's not even like this swagger to him, like a Tom Wilson sort of way he carries himself, but just he looks happy. And he's like, oh, I did that. Like, I'm capable of doing these things. Last year was a very down year for him in New Jersey. And I think that's why Flames fans were kind of like, oh, yeah, no, this is a brutal return. What is Craig Conroy thinking, right? But while it does not replace Tyler Toffoli, he is racking up 10, 11 goals so far, and we realistically set him at 20, 25 goals for the season, and he's well on his way. He just needed time to settle in, I think, and to find his rhythm. That is natural with anyone in any sport and really throughout most of our everyday lives. I would say, you're not going to get tossed into an entirely new environment and be expected to pick it up right off the bat. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, not only tonight against the Panthers, but in any situation through the rest of the season. And it's an interesting question. Do the Flames make him part of their core? He's young. He's 25, 24, 25. I don't think we need to lock up another player long term, but it's something to think about because you need someone that can score, and he can score. And of course, my last player to watch is Jacob Markstrom. He's coming back after being injured and out for 2 weeks. And Flames were pretty lucky. He was pretty lucky. Didn't need surgery to repair his finger. And I'm excited to see him back. I am. I think that it does apply pressure to Craig Conroy as well, because you need to figure out what you're doing with Dan Vladar and Dustin Wolf. Do we have any sort of clarity? No. Carolina needs a goalie. I tweeted the other night, Dan Vladar, you are going through my Rolodex Carolina Hurricane. I'm not saying a goaltender would fix all of Carolina's problems, but it would fix some of the Flames' problems, okay? And Jacob Markstrom has been so much better this season. There are moments where he is the only one keeping this team above the water. We've seen it multiple times, and he looks a lot more comfortable in net. He looks like he is playing better. I'm not a goalie expert. I can't sit here and explain everything dynamics wise. He just looks so good in net. And he was doing really well prior to being injured. And I hope that he can pick up right where he left off. And I'm not expecting, a 9 shutout season again. But if we can keep that save percentage, bud, 905, 910, it's going to help this team a lot. And if you are team tank, you're like, no, just like keep riding with these 2 goalies, like bye, figure something else out. But if if you cover this team and are interested in watching them succeed and are attempt at succeeding, I should say, to give you that middle of the road finish again, you want Jacob Markstrom to do well. And I completely understand both sides. I do. Rooting for a tank is a whole episode. And I'm going to have a guest on soon to dive into why a rebuild would be helpful and beneficial to the Flames. But that does it for today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I hope you all have a fantastic day today. And remember to stay warm, stay dry, and stay hydrated.